Live from the City of Angels Midnight Movie Money. It is box office discussion time, and we're going to start with the number 3 film. As you may or may not know, it was The Bride. Hoppers won, okay, which is fantastic to see original animation doing the number it did. But our lead story this morning is our number 3 film. It is The Bride at $7.3 million. This is a $90 million film. So, to be profitable, as I pull this up, do you guys see the calculation? 90 million times 2.5, which is roughly what everyone accepts to be the break-even point when you take the budgeting and the P&A, basically the promotion for the film at this point, and you throw it all together, you get 225 million. This film, as we go to the Warner Brothers email, 7.3 million here in the States, 6.3 million overseas, $13.6 million on the global cash. So this will, without question, lose Warner Brothers 100 plus million, maybe even 200 million when all is said and done. We discussed this back on Thursday night. It's a reckless decision to make this film at this budget. Not to mention it's one of the worst films that we've suffered through in a very long time. So this is an L upon L upon L for Warner Brothers for greenlighting this film and then seeing the result this weekend. You go back and you look at what we said on Thursday night. I said the ceiling for this film was 10 million. That means that's the highest number that I could possibly conceive this debut with. And we're under the ceiling. And I called it back on Thursday. I said, I have a feeling it's going to go lower. 7.3 million. This is also going to be one of the lowest IMAX grossing films in its weekly stay there ever. Look at this from last night. This is from Chicago. So it's not from like some tiny little burg. This is Chicago, Illinois, one of the biggest movie markets out there. And you can see there are 3 seats sold for IMAX. And this will, and you go back to the Warner Brothers email, they're not even discussing a lot of the stuff they normally do when they talk about the biggest market for them, the top DMAs, all that stuff. None of it is included. You just have the number 1 international market, UK at 950,000, Mexico 753,000. We're not even to a million on these markets in US dollars. The total per screen here in the United States, 2,200. And that, again, includes the IMAX money. So this was a real loser across the board. And we talked about this back on Thursday. Again, go back and watch that stream because we are always ahead of the curve. That's what we do here at MMT. And I told you this was bad for movie theaters, right? Because for so many reasons. You're talking about a film that crashed at an epic level, arguably one of the worst bombs, biggest bombs of all time, okay? That's what we're talking about here this morning. But you're also talking about theaters who not only have wretched product in The Bride, but also they need help. They need great films. And this kind of film turns people off. And they have empty seats, and they're not selling concessions, and on and on and on. I hope that what we end up with, and we'll talk about this tonight on the Sunday Evening Spectacular, I hope what happens with this film is that it is a wake-up call to the studios, that they are no longer going to just hand over 90 million. These budgets are completely out of control to these directors to make whatever passion project they want with very little regard for overall accessibility for the audience. If you want to make a Bride at 7 million, 8 million, 10 million, fine, go for it, Maggie. But when you're at 90, it is reckless disregard for the studio, for the theaters, for moviegoers. It is a total and utter complete shit show of a decision. And tomorrow morning, I would expect there better be multiple people who are end up on the street because of this choice. This cannot happen without repercussions. We talk about it all the time in sports. You look at a coach who loses a big game, has a bad season, they're out. It happens all the time in sports. Someone has to fall on the sword for the bride. Can you imagine you go into work tomorrow and you're responsible for losing over 100 million, 150, maybe $200 million on this film. You don't have a job. It's over. Maggie Gyllenhaal's not working again anytime soon. It's not happening. No way. You do not hire her for anything that has a budget above $6 million going forward. This is business. And I know the film Twitter people out there can't seem to wrap their heads around the fact that you have to have responsibility for what you're given. You're a caretaker of cinema. And this is complete trash of that trust. And that's unacceptable. And I'm just hoping that people are going to pay a price for this, because there have to be answers, and there have to be repercussions for this decision of one of the biggest bombs of all time in The Bride at $7.3 million. Now, let's go to some happier news. We've got the number one film right now at Hoppers at $46 million, picked up over the weekend. Initially looked like about 40. Saturday was much bigger than expected. I was there yesterday checking out Finally. Have fun, good luck, don't die. And I like that film. We'll talk about it tonight. But I notice a lot of families going to see Hoppers. So it's good for Pixar. It's good for the brand, certainly, to have people interested in their product again. After Elio, they had to rebuild trust because, as you guys know, we talked about Elio, one of the worst Pixar films. And now you turn around with a strong Pixar film. I think one that audiences obviously like, got an A cinema score. And this is rebuilding that brand. Can they get back to a position where every film they come out with is a great film, or at least very, very good? Obviously, go back to Inside Out 2. That is an aberration in that that's a sequel. Everyone knew the original. Arguably, that one is the best Pixar of all time. Inside Out, certainly in the top 5. So that's a little bit of a different situation when you say, well, look at Inside Out 2. Okay. You look at Elio. That's what we're looking at. And when you have Hoppers coming in at 46, you add 42 on the overseas for a total of 88 million on the global. This is the biggest original animated film debut since Coco back in 2017. So they say about 19 original animated films have been released between Coco and Hoppers. So the biggest in 19 films here, 94% Rotten Tomatoes critic score, and I mentioned that A cinema score. This is, again, just a win for Disney here this weekend. I expect it to hold well, too, because you've got spring break coming up over the next several weeks, kind of staggered for a lot of the kids out there across the nation. And this is the kind of film people will go and check out during the week. So look for the weekday numbers to be strong, not Christmas corridor strong, but stronger than you typically would see. So the timing on this, the release date on this film is fortuitous, and Hoppers is your number one film of the weekend. Let's go to number 2. It's Scream, 17.3 on Scream 7, and it's down 73%. That's a huge drop. But here is the good news on Scream 7. When you look at the total worldwide cash right now, as I pull up the Paramount email from early this morning, $149.5 million on the worldwide. And the budget on this was 45. I tweeted out a little bit ago. It is profitable. It's made at least $30 million in profits so far, plus 30 plus million when you go by that 2.5 multiple. So that is encouraging. Obviously, we're going to get a Scream 8 make that. And you look at where it's going, you're going to take Sydney's daughter and put her in college. That's clearly where you're going. I mean, she's essentially looks like a senior in this film. Do they ever mention it? I don't remember. But you make this much money, you just keep going. Obviously, the fans demand more, and I don't hate as much as 6, right? 7, I don't think is, listen, it's got some stuff that makes you just go, like the ghost face reveal at the end, one of the worst, laughably awful, okay? But overall, fans like it. It gave them what they wanted, the fan service, as it were. All that stuff's included, and that's why we're at essentially $150 million on the worldwide take. So, again, Scream 8 on the way. GOAT is your number 4 film at $6.6 million. And you look at GOAT, I think one of the things that you forget is $80 million film. So even though we're at roughly $150 million on the global on GOAT, it's not profitable. Back to that 2.5, 80, 2.5, 200. So we're not there. So, movies aren't exactly in the best place right now. Hopper's obviously not bad at 46, but back in the day, Pixar would be banging a 60, right? They'd be hitting a 65, maybe a 70. You just never know. Certainly 50 plus. So we're little under that. It's not as far as that's like, let's sound the alarm bells. But at the same time, we're just not at a great place when it comes to movie going right now. And we need to get those windows reinstalled. We talk about that forever. It should have happened 3 years ago. I was talking about that back in 2023. That's when you had the leverage, and they didn't do it. And now you got the residual damage that continues to this day. There's a lot of people that don't like going to the movies because of the behavior of the crowd. I get it. I don't deal with that. Very often, it's perfect at AMC. I would argue 95% of the time at AMC Burbank, I do not have an issue. 5%, I've had someone on their phone for a second. It's not like it is a continual issue. But for some of you, I understand it is. So that's a problem. Obviously, people aren't exactly floating in cash right now. They don't have flush money to be thrown around. So when you look at that situation, there's a lot of issues hitting theaters right now. We're seeing them close, right? iPic just closed down Westwood and Pasadena. That's here in LA. When theaters in LA are shuttering, you got to remember, this is LA, the number one movie market in the world, essentially New York and LA. And then you throw in what? 2 theaters dropping here? That means your theater's in trouble, okay? I see it everywhere. Just Google or go to X and put in movie theater closing. Watch how many people pop up from all over. You just don't hear about it. But it's happening, and it will continue to happen. It's not, listen, you would never open a movie theater these days. And to my AMC apes out there watching the stream this morning, listen, I love that you love your stock. It's awesome. Don't make it your personality. That's the first thing. Don't, be better than a personality that's a stock. That's really pathetic. But, sorry, it's true. We got to be real. AMC to the moon. Well, not any longer. And, that's, if you don't like that, too bad. I mean, I don't know. Do you not like realities? What do you not like about that? The fact that you're losing money? Too bad. You lost money. I've lost money in the stock market. What do you, dude? You can't change the information to suit whatever you believe. It's just, or what you want to happen. They are facts. I don't deal with people that live in delusion. It's not a place I want to visit. It's not something for me. I'd rather deal with harsh realities. And, the AMC apes don't seem to want to do that. It's not my problem. It's their problem. It's your money problem. And again, not our problem that you did that. It's not our problem that you bought stock in a company that I warned you was in trouble a long time ago. You didn't listen. You listened to the other guy who's like, go buy AMC stock. Should have listened to the ace. The ace nailed nailed it again with The Bride. I called Hoppers at about 40, so we're close. Bumped a little higher. You guys, I mean, it's right here for you. I don't know. Too bad. If you don't like it, it's the best thing going today. So it's a big mistake on your part. You'd have a lot more money in your pocket, wouldn't you? I don't play the stock market anymore. I have my stuff that's stored away, but I don't even bother. I should. I would have shorted AMC a long time ago. And I'm the theatrical guy. Let's go do Wuthering Heights. And you can see it here at number 5. This film's profitable. I know that a lot of you don't like to hear that because for whatever reason you don't like this film. I don't know why. I'm so tired of people trashing this film when it's one of the best films of the year. Artistically, really strong. I don't like the characters. I'm sorry. Do we have to love every character in every movie to root for them at some level or to understand the level? Like, go back to their childhood in the film, right? The innocence. Granted, they changed over the years. But my point is you go back to that, and the film does draw back on that at the end. I mean, I'm telling you, man, it gets so tiresome. Do you understand how tiresome it gets to go see these films and see people who don't get this shit? I mean, The Bride, clearly, if you don't get the fact that's a piece of trash, dude, I don't know what to tell you. You're dealing with a really low IQ, for sure. No question about it. And you're also dealing with like an inability to recognize this is garbage. Like, this doesn't work at any level. And you watch Wuthering Heights and you're like, this works. This works. And I'm convinced that the majority of people out there, it's the majority. I'm not going to say, right, they're dumb as hell, but they certainly aren't very smart. But I'm going to tell you this. I'm convinced the majority of people don't have any kind of real dialed in ability to gauge these things without letting their biases creep in and their preconceived notions and their agendas. It's just stop with the whole tribal bullshit, guys. Man, this is like the Sunday night stream. I'm just doing the box office, and I gotta like start preaching about this because it just gets so old, right? So tiresome with these people that they can't recognize stuff. But, again, you can't show people things if they're not willing to see it and or they don't have the ability. They just don't have the accessibility in their own mental capacities to understand the shit. They just don't. I'm sorry. If it's mean, I don't give a shit. I'm done playing the game with film Twitter. He's the worst. He's too fucking bad. If you don't like it, leave the channel. It's right there. Go. I don't care. I care. I'm going to play volleyball in a few minutes. I got a life outside of this. Yeah, I know. Sorry, Weber's now being cranky. Too bad. The global on this is 213 points. This is what you come for, right? Cantankerous Weber. It is what it is. I'm just so tired of playing the games with especially the film Twitter weirdos. We're done. We're done playing the games. We're done. Stay on the island of misfit toys. That's where you belong. The film space is full of a bunch of really strange people. I mean, granted, I'm a slightly strange, but not as strange as some of these people. Trust me, man. You go to AMC Burbank, you look around and go, good Lord, these are some oddballs. I mean, right? Like, these are some people, like, back in the day in the 80s, like, I grew up Generation X, right? Back in the days, these people would have been bullied. They would have been. And I'm not suggesting I wasn't at one point. We all were. Who wasn't bullied by somebody? A big, giant, football dude. It's like, sit down, little bitch. Whatever, it happens. But I'm just saying, these days we don't do that, right? My favorite was the 21 Jump Street reboot. Remember that? When they go back and he's like, I'm going to be the cool guy. And he's like, what's up with these kids? Exactly. That's where we are these days. Sorry, back to Wuthering Heights. It's profitable. 213.7. It's made roughly $14 million for them. I mean, if you go by that 2.5 multiple, of course we do. That's all we can do. Someone asked me, and then we'll get ready to roll out here because I got to go play some beach volleyball today. It's beautiful here in Los Angeles. You expect me to sit here all day on a stream? We got another one tonight. Give me a break. All right, let's look at the top 10. Let me make it myself a little bit smaller and make it a little bigger. I don't know if you can even see it, but let's talk about it. Hoppers is your number one. And it is at 46 million, 11,500 per. Again, that's not that great. You want to see that up to 20,000 on a really strong film, 11.5. So that's another indicator, again, that you're not going to get from a lot of people. The average is very important that you pay attention to that. Scream 7, number 2, now at nearly $150 million. It is profitable, at least $30 million plus in the pocket for Paramount on that. Scream 8 on the way. Number 3, The Bride. As we mentioned off the top of the stream, one of the biggest bombs of all time, $7.26 million debut, only $2,197 per location. Wow. I mean, on IMAX, on PLF, and you end up with a $7.3 million against a $90 million budget. Someone's going to pay a price. They better. You got to. You don't get away with something like that and not have someone lose their job. We have people losing their job and they're actually doing their job. Imagine losing your company $100 million because you said, let's make this movie. You're out. You're fired. You're not working again. Maggie Gyllenhaal's not working anytime in the near future. No way. No way. No chance. Why? Why would you ever hire Maggie Gyllenhaal to make another movie after this? It's not even accessible. Forget the fact it's bad. It's inaccessible for anyone but the film Twitter, chin stroking. It's a female director, therefore it's good crowd, right? A lot of hyphens in that. Did you like that? That was really good. That's exactly what we're dealing with. And those are the people that I'm done with. The film Twitter, it's a female director, therefore it's good crowd. That's exactly what it is. because they're so far virtue signaling left wing weirdos. That's why you don't like me, because I'm normal. Film Twitter, you guys are not. You're the island of misfit fucking toys. And there's a reason why it's called the island of misfit toys. it's just doing the box office today, and then all this it is what it is. It's live. Goats number 4. Wuthering Heights number 5. Number 6, Crime 101. Crime 101's only at $33.6 million on the domestic. I mean, it's a shame. It's one of the best films of the year, along with Wuthering Heights, along with The Plague, along with Bone Temple. Bone Temple is very good. And I also like Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die. There's a lot of stuff to unpack with that film because it's not perfect, but it's got so much good stuff. I'd say great stuff in it. It just does some things I wish it didn't, but it's not enough to destroy the film. We talk about this a lot of times in these film evaluations. You can walk up to the edge of destruction and then walk back. It doesn't even get to the edge of destruction, but it just does some things that I would change. First thing I would change about that film, just a quick spoiler before we get into tonight's stream, is I would change the score. The score is very generic. I would rip it out and I'd hand that thing to Michael Levi. Michael Levi, you're taking over instantly. You're rescoring Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die. That's the first thing. Again, if the studios would take me in and let me do my fucking work, let me come in and perform my magic on your test screenings, I'm going to clean this shit up. I'm going to do my best. Sometimes, like a movie like The Bride, I understand that even the test screenings everyone hated. Of course they did. It's awful. There's no way to save The Bride. As soon as I walked out of The Bride, I'd say, you need to Batgirl this. Well, you can't. You should. Because it's going to make no money. And you're going to lose money on even promoting it. Just let it go. Let it disappear. Put it in the vault next to Batgirl. Open it up underneath Warner Brothers. Shove in The Bride next to Batgirl. And there's your 1-2. Lock it up and then seal that motherfucker and run. Do not ever talk about The Bride again. That's what I would have told Warner Brothers on the test screening initial reaction. You're dead on this film. But if you listen to Film Twitter, oh, by the way, last week we dragged Perry Nemiroff. Guess who thought this was great? Are you surprised? Perry Nemiroff saying, oh, what a female director. Again, right? That's what they all do. Especially the female critics in this space. They really love to prop up female directors. Why? I've never propped up a male director because I'm a guy. It's never happened. I've never gone like, this directed by a guy, so I've got to make sure I say this is good. Well, it's different. You're a guy. You're not a girl. That's what someone out there is saying right now. No, why would you ever prop up something because of the sex? We share the same sex. Therefore, what? It doesn't make sense. But the female critics cannot escape that. They have to be able to do that. And again, Perry, who else? There's tons. Trust me, we'll talk about it tonight. I got to drag a bunch of people that said this is a good film because they look even dumber now. I told you guys it's terrible. And look, it got complete repudiation at the box office. People said, forget this shit. We're just completely not, we don't know part of this. And Weber's right again. Send Help 7, 8, I can only imagine. Epic is now up to 10, called $11 million on the domestic cash. Demon Slayer is back. Demon Slayer's back at number 10. All right, guys, here's what we're going to do. Tonight, I'm going to talk about Oscars. We're going to do Film Twitter, the end for you. It's done. We're coming to claim it. We're taking it back. I'm done with the Fringe calling the shots in the film space. The Fringe is done. You guys are over. The Bride was your final stand. It's not happening anymore. We're not putting up with your shit anymore, where you're going to prop up a film like The Bride and destroy cinema in the process. You are destroying moviegoing because you are, for whatever reason, female director more than likely, The Bride, you're going to prop something up like that. Can't believe it's so reckless, so irresponsible, and you have no taste. None. Zero. So we're done. We're going to take it back, and we're going to talk about it tonight. Film Twitter, it's coming to an end. We're coming to claim it. MMT's off the air. See you tonight on this Sunday Evening Spectacular.